Hello YouTube, my name's Sean Collins and welcome back to The Outsiders. I'm using a new medium this week. This is a brand new video system that I'm using. That doesn't mean it's any better than the previous one, it's just different. But up to this point I've been using pretty much an Apple iPad. I've now moved away from that. I've given the Apple iPad to my wife and I'm now moving on using a Samsung tablet 10.1 number 2, which is as good in my view, maybe even better. But I don't know camera wise whether it's as good. I don't think it is, but it'll still mean we can do videos. And we're continuing on with our Sherlock series, and this week we start with biases. Now, I've touched on biases and hadn't really gone into too much detail about them. I really strongly believe that all of us have biases. We can't help it. I'm going to try and illustrate those biases. Now, I've got in front of me here a book. I've got a couple of pictures of two people. I'm going to put those two people up on the screen. Have a little look at that for a split second. Take in some details about those people. We're going to take a few seconds. Just have a little look at them. See what you make of those two people from their faces. You know, do what a human would do, which is just have a little look and just start to think about them as two individuals. Now, let me tell you a little bit about those pictures and see what you think. So follow along with the little game that we're about to play. Which face, in your view, is more attractive? And two, which person is more competent, just based on those photos? If I were to flash those pictures at you for as little as 1/10 of a second, your opinion would almost likely agree with the judgment of hundreds of others whom I've shown these pictures of these two individuals, also in the same way I gave you longer to look at them. But that's not all. Those faces you've looked at aren't random. They're actually two faces of two rival candidates who ran in the 2004 US Senate election in Wisconsin. And the ratings you gave for competency will be highly predictive of the actual winner. It's the man on the left. Did your competence evaluation match up? So let's have another look at it. So the winner was the guy on the left. Now left here in this case is this one here. So did yours match up to that win? Let me explain why. Approximately 70% of cases, competence ratings given in under a second of its vote predict the actual results of political races. And that predictability will hold in elections that range from the United States to us here in the UK, from Finland to Mexico to Germany to Australia. So when we say about politics, as an example, about how bias works, who generally wins the election? Is it based on anything other than what really is it more about the look of the person? Because to be honest, you can actually tell a lot about the winner from the look of the person. Now you know, as you step away from that one little second and start thinking about it, you'll know in yourself. And the reality of that is, of course, it's true that you know you actually can't help yourself. Most of us will make that initial judgment, and that's understandable. We're wired to do it. We are, and I'm reading again verbatim. Jump to conclusions based on some subtle, subconscious cue that we're not even aware of, and the repercussions extend to situations far more serious than Watson trusting too much in a client's pretty face, or unprepared he never stands a chance at the true cold reason that Holmes seems to hold in the tips of his fingers. Just a fleeting impression of competence can form the basis of political vote, so Watson's initial overwhelming positive assessment of a particular woman can lay the foundation of further action and reinforces that initial view. So basically, what we're really saying here about competency and biases and why they're so important in DMing is we can't help ourselves. So from the look of a player to the way they play a character to the way they act, we might have a bias towards them, as we may have favourites. I mean, we may actually, without even subconsciously know it, have favourites. So when we have systems in our games that maybe award individual experience points to players, are we really sure that we're not biased? And if we can honestly step back and say, no, I don't, then you have to try and think for a second, how do you justify yourself? A long time ago, I realised that, yeah, I was biased, and I realised certain players were getting more at the expense of others because of my personal opinions getting in the way, my beliefs, and I changed that to make sure that everybody, all-encompassing, got the same amount, irrespective of effort or anything at all. I might do some small subtle things with character rewards in terms of goals, clear goals. That might be something I might differ on, but that's because somebody's worked that little extra mile to get those differences. But I generally try more in the case of keeping away from the biases. And this is one of the reasons why. So just coming back for a split second, remember the photos, remember your instant, think about the photos. I gave you plenty of time. If I just flash them up on the screen, which one would you have found more competent? Try it on someone you don't know and see what the answer is. And 70% of the time, 7 out of 10, people are going to pick the one on the left. And there are many reasons why they pick the one on the left. Many reasons. And that's often the case in politics, as it equally will be in DMing, as it equally is in life, as we evaluate two people quickly, even skipping through CVs. Biases get in the way of our games without us knowing it. We need to think around the systems that exist in your game to make sure that none of them are wired in a particular way that are going to have an impact on you or your players, and that everything is exactly as it should be, arbitrary. Anyway, I've been Sean Connis. This has been another video in the Sherlock series, all about biases. Take care of yourselves, and happy gaming, and I'll see you again very soon.